Dear Heavenly Father, we're here before you this evening, Father, to honor the life of our brother Gonzalo, a person that was willing to give his life for the freedom of others to be only exiled away. We ask you, Father, that this serve as recognition of the suffering people that are deported, our deported veterans, that the only way that they can ever return home to their loved ones is after death. Heavenly Father, we ask you to have mercy on our brother Gonzalo, that you give his family courage and strength, that one day we will also be there with him.
Padre Dios, que estás en el cielo, te pedimos por favor que le des fuerza a la familia de Gonzalo, que nos ayudes pronto a regresar a casa, y te pedimos por favor que no permitas que otro veterano más regrese muerto a casa, que permitas que regresen con sus familias vivos. Te pedimos por una reunificación familiar, que nos des aguante y nos permitas volver pronto a casa. Te pedimos una bendición para todos nuestros compañeros y te lo pedimos en el nombre de tu Hijo. Amén.
Today we are honoring Gonzalo Chaides, who's a U.S. Army. He died in Mexico. We're at the international fence that divides Mexico and the United States. There's a lot of men that are dying, that are not receiving treatment, like Gonzalo. He died of TB, which could have been treated in the United States. The Veterans Administration is not doing their job, and you don't leave a man behind. Somebody like Gonzalo should have never died in Mexico, separated from his family and without any medical care.
De parte de la familia Chávez, le damos las gracias a Héctor Barajas y a todos los veteranos deportados que le dieron apoyo a Gonzalo los últimos 4 meses de su vida. Y por el honor que le dieron hoy día, seguiremos con la lucha. In spite of him living in California for 50 years of his life and serving in the military, he was deported anyways. After his deportation in Mexico, my brother lived in several Calvary Chapel shelters. And truly, God's mercy surrounded him these last 4 years. He prayed a lot, did works of charity, and helped around any way he could in the shelters where he was residing. His letters to me during the last 4 years reflected his desire for all of his family to forgive him, and his desire for each of us to find the peace he found once he started his new life in Christ Jesus.
Present arms. Order arms.
On behalf of all deported veterans, we would like to give this flag and the ashes to the family so they can be taken to the United States to rest with their family. Although he's not able to be home with his family, now he can rest at home.
I was proud to live in the United States, and I knew that eventually I was going to be in the military, join the service at some point in my life. So when the recruiters came to the school, actually to Garfield High School where I was attending, and they gave a little seminar and everything. They said you could enlist now, and you would go into boot camp right after graduation. So I actually did that. There was really never any discussion about a citizenship.
When I met the recruiter, he sat down, he would take you and he would make you fill out an evaluation form, right? And on that form it would ask you things like, you know, your security number, date of birth, place of birth. So then of course I would put down Barranquilla, Colombia. He asked me what my status was there. I told him, well, I've been here all my life. My families are all citizens. I told him I'm going to go to Europe, but you know what? I don't have an American passport. He said, the only one we need, when you get there, you're going to get a military card. You'll be able to travel all throughout Europe without a passport. You won't need one. And it was true. I never did. I never did need a passport. So the issue was not, of citizenship was never brought up, you know, because all you had to do was be a legal permanent resident in order to sign up.
While being in the military, there never was citizenship mentioned. Never was I counseled whenever I PCS'd or whenever we're doing some type of pre-deployment or going to some field exercise. There was nothing, no information. Even when I got out, there was no process of you know what, if you don't get your citizenship, this is what could happen to you. Do you even want your citizenship? You know, at least at the very least have a little signature saying, you know what, this guy didn't want his citizenship. And so there was no follow-up.
In 1972, 73, there was a drug culture in the United States, let alone in Vietnam. In Vietnam, the drug culture was like prevalent. You know, I knew sergeants, I knew lieutenants, I knew, you know, officers that were getting loaded.
There was no drug enforcement as far as testing. There was no randomly testing or nothing during that period of enlistment. And my roommate was a heroin addict. And I used to go out, whatever, and we used to come back. I used to see the needle right there in the, right exposed, you know. And I used to tell him, you know, but what if the NCO in charge, NCO would come in and see that? So I got in a fight with him over that problem.
For myself, the process of being from military civilian was really quick and from catching my deportation as well. I had started abusing alcohol, so I got a DUI and they ended up chaptering me with an honorable discharge. And it continued into my civilian life. What happened was I ended up basically being in a vehicle where somebody fired a weapon, and then I ended up being in prison for about 3 years. And from there, they ended up picking me to immigration. I thought the last thing on my mind was, well, I'm gonna get picked up by immigration.
The issue with the immigration came on in 1988. In 1988, okay, I tried to cash a check without an ID. The amount was filled in, but it wasn't signed. In New York, it's no big deal, but in Arizona, you know, I don't know what happened. I went in there, I signed the check, I tried to hand it in to the guy, right? The girl at the check cashing place made me wait, like I'm doing right now. And I waited, and about 20 minutes later, a cop car shows up. I said, you Mr. Verone? Well, yes. He said, why are you trying to cash a check? So I explained to him, to the police officer. He says, well, no, I think we have to go down to the thing and talk about this because this is a crime.
My drug addiction, the drug addiction that I incurred during my service in the military is what got me deported. I consider it a service-connected disability, okay? And I ended up going in and out of jail for drug-related charges, and that's what I was deported for.
They sentenced me to 16 months in prison for a possession. I think it was a possession. It wasn't a possession for sales, it was just for my own use. And when they sentenced me, they never advised me that if I pleaded guilty, that there was a chance that I would get deported, that I would lose my green card. They never advised me The public defender never told me, okay, if you're gonna plead guilty, that you know that you're deportable. They never advised me about that. The next day I was supposed to go to court. They put me on a bus and they shipped me to Eloy. I went to court. I told the judge that I was a Vietnam era veteran. And he said, no, well, you know what, we're still gonna deport you.
My desperation was to get back to New York, you know, and get on with my business. But I went back, so I finally told the DA, I went to the DA, I said, man, what can I do to get back home? I'm not from Arizona. He said, okay, I'll tell you what, we can offer you a deal. Plead guilty to attempted forgery, and we'll waive the sentence. Okay. So I was like, okay, right, fine, where do I sign? You know, he's like, you know, I just wanted to get out of here. And on a bad mistake that I made, that was one of the worst mistakes I made, I signed a plea bargain. When it came time for me to renew my DOD clearance, that's when the red flag came up. Did you know that, you know, you have a crime, an aggravated felony? I go, aggravated felony? You know, what aggravated felony? He says, no, well, you know, it says here that you have to go, and they gave me an address, and I went to a federal building where the immigration was, and they put me in a room and they detained me.
So when they told me that I was getting deported, I'm like, what do you mean I'm getting deported? I'm like, I served in the U.S. military. The last thing on my mind was getting deported, but I didn't know that you can get deported for committing crimes, for even having a DUI. I didn't know people were getting deported. The green card holders were getting deported, and then I thought legal permanent resident, permanent, but it's not.
And during my process with all military service and lifetime residents and all the family that I had in the United States, I was about to receive a waiver of deportation. Because of my addiction, I failed to show up to one of my immigration court dates. I failed to show, and I was deported in absentia, what they refer to as the judge ordered deportation in my absence.
When I got out of the hospital, and you know, they picked me up to take me to my mom's house, not even 3 days later, we got raided. I was the only one there, me and my mom. They raided us, and freaked my mom out, but these guys came in, you know, like a SWAT team, you know. It was dangerous for me because they asked me to, you know, like when they go in, get up, roll down, get on your knees, get your face down. I couldn't even get up. You know, I couldn't because I still had the stitches. They handcuffed me, threw me in a vehicle, and they took me to Eloy.
And then I got sick when I was in the federal prison. I got deported on a commercial flight, not with the rest of the deportees because I was sick, to Mexico City. And from Mexico City, the Mexican government paid my plane ticket to Chihuahua, where I was born.
It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I felt lost. I really felt depressed. I felt lost. I felt humiliated. I felt rejected. Every feeling of, every negative feeling that you could think of, I felt.
Homeland Security gave an official report that they deported 57 veterans in 2009, and that each year it was doubling. But I think the number's higher than that, because when I got deported in 2009, part of the intake was never to ask somebody if you are a veteran. Come into contact with veterans from 26 different countries, guys from the Vietnam War to current Iraq and Afghanistan, veterans that served in combat and peacetime. Most of the veterans are being deported to Mexico, Jamaica, Trinidad. We got guys getting deported to Canada, Costa Rica, Italy, Germany, Poland. I mean, just all over the world.
Since I found Hector and the Deported Veterans Support House here, I've gained a lot of friends. I've gained a lot of confidence. I can see that there's hope here. There's a lot of hope of one day getting all of us back legally. It might not happen right away, but I honestly believe that one day we'll be able to present some kind of bill before Congress, before the U.S. Supreme Court, that would allow us to return.
So then I got a hold of Hector. And there was a movement going on with deported veterans and stuff, and I got into it. So I made plans 3 months ahead of time that when I left Venezuela, I was going to go to Colombia, get my personal things settled, and I was going to come here and see what I could do here from here.
The challenges for the Deported Veteran Support House has been we have no support. We started with nothing. I actually was in the streets before I started, doing what I'm doing, and I was addicted. I had, I had nothing. So the challenges have been for us is to get support, to organize ourselves, to get people to come and help. A lot of people don't want to come to Mexico, or they don't want to go to Jamaica. So getting people to come down here and find out what's really going on, but it's very, very hard because we started from the ground up. We don't have the support that we have in the United States. We don't have the organizations, and right now the basic thing we could provide is shelter for somebody. Now we're getting meditation for the guys since we can't get any VA treatment and psychologists. Well, we could start with meditation. We get computer classes. We got volunteer psychologists. We got people that come down here and give us workshops. We get donations sometimes, but I think it's very important that most of these men, they're suffering from a lot of physical, psychological, and emotional trauma. So it's very important to touch those aspects. But it's my goal is to go further than that. Is to get the VA to start treating us, and also to advocate for going home. The way most veterans contact us is through Facebook or through articles that they've seen, and then they turn around and contact us. We do have a website, deportedveteransupporthouse.com. We also have Facebook groups like Deported Veteran Support House, Banished Veterans. They can contact us at 626-569-5491 or banishedveteran@yahoo.com. And we need all the support we can get, volunteers, people to come down here and talk to the guys, find out what's really going on, their experiences, how they're living, why they got deported, the separation of families, which is very important. But we need all kinds of help. The VA is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, is taking care of the veterans. If I could say something to Robert McDonald, who's the secretary of the VA, I would ask him to please help us with our veterans benefits. Right now, like in my situation, I'm eligible to be seen by the VA, but I can't be seen by the VA because I can't physically cross the United States. We're eligible for benefits, so I think at the very least, if they can't readjust their status as far as to going back, help us with our benefits. We earned them. Regardless of where I'm deported to or where I'm at, I'm still a United States American veteran. So I think it's a shame that the only benefit I can receive is to be buried in a casket, and the VA is going to provide the VA marker and the plot, but I can't get treated, so I can, at the very least prolong my life.
If there's one thing that I could say to the Secretary of the Veterans Administration, it would be that regardless if you were drafted or not, I enlisted myself. That in itself shows loyalty. It's insisted that to be a U.S. national, you have to have permanent allegiance to the United States. And what better way of showing your allegiance to the United States than by enlisting?
That I propose to them that they should hold a meeting or a, how do you say una convocatoria? I don't know how you say it in English. Yeah. Where everybody goes and says, look, I think I'm eligible to be here. I'm not a bad person. Review my case. And the person should have the right to have his case reviewed because errors were made. And it's okay to make errors, because it's a process where, people get caught up and do things like that. So I'm not personally mad against them, but I feel that someone should take responsibility and get this taken care of.
I would tell them that regardless if I got deported or not, I got an honorable discharge. I served my country, and I deserve to have my VA benefits, regardless if I got deported or not.